That's exactly what I wanted to talk about with Jayson Tatum coming into the fold of best player in best team, best record, best player on that team with the best record. Is he considered an MVP, top notch? And I believe that the media, they're going on a whole rollout for Jayson Tatum. We're starting with this guy.
Wait, shit. Clearly, that's not the goalpost. Like, clearly, the goalpost has shifted dramatically. Because in this guy's case, he's fifth, and they got a 7.5 game lead in the conference. That goalpost is moving on JT. I don't know what JT got to do. I do know what JT got to do. I told y'all last time what JT got to do. JT will not be taken serious for the MVP until he win a championship. And it just hasn't been that way for everybody else, I must say. It's not that way for Joker. It's not that way for Giannis. It's not that way for Joel. It just ain't really been that way for everybody else. So I don't know how it ended up that way for JT. Maybe it's because he got to the NBA Finals and lost, and everybody's like, oh, like, you had your chance, but, I mean, golly, that is brutal.
I got Jayson Tatum as the leading candidate for league MVP.
I knew you was going to say this.
Now that Joel Embiid is out. I'm sorry. Does winning matter? Does being the best player on the best team matter? I'd say it does. I'm looking at a brother that was averaging 30 last year, 6th in the NBA. He's now averaging 27. I got some of the numbers here right now, okay? Tatum is one of 4 players averaging 27 and 8 along with Embiid, Luka, and Giannis, okay? We know Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and Dallas ain't what Boston is. They've got the best record in basketball. They've got a 6-game cushion in the Eastern Conference. Jayson Tatum even has a teammate that's getting paid more than him at $300 million in Jaylen Brown, okay? This man, Jayson Tatum. Oh, by the way, in case you want to look, career high 56% on 2-point shots, okay? The brother is something special. 6'9", can take you outside, can take you inside, can post you up, can face the basket and pull up, can hit your threes, he can hit free throws. The brother is a juggernaut. He is the best player on the Boston Celtics. He is the best player on the best team in the NBA. And I'm saying we ain't going to ignore this brother any longer. Right now, with Joel Embiid, when he was playing, it was him. But now that he's out for the foreseeable future, therefore ineligible for a league MVP award, the leading candidate for league MVP should be the one and only Jayson Tatum.
AllBall.
Shit is a joke.
But he
No. Let me explain why it's a joke. Where was this energy all season? So now that ESPN's Malika Andrew interviews Jayson Tatum and he says he's the best player, now you say he's the best player? How? For me, you don't average enough. I'm sorry. It's dudes in the league averaging 35. You don't average enough. You have an all-star team. That's why you got the best record in the league. Let's call it what it is. If Embiid don't get hurt, you're not better than Embiid. You're not better than the Joker. Right now, you're not better than SGA, and you're not better than Luka. You're not. I'm sorry. He's just not. He's a great player, but to say he's the top candidate for MVP, I disagree with that.
And who is?
I would have to go with SGA.
Okay.
I would have to go with SGA. For one, what I look at, them dudes is over there young. I slept on SGA, and I was the first to admit I was dead wrong. I did not see them being this good this young. These dudes is averaging 30 plus. They playing defense, like Flea said, lead the league in steals. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Jayson Tatum, since he's been in the league, the front office done a great job giving him all the help he needs. But let's not forget the type of team he has built around him. So for me, I don't think he's the top candidate. Is he in that conversation? Hell yeah. But to be the top candidate, number one candidate, no, I disagree. And then what is Joker's numbers looking like right now? So now we just don't care about triple doubles no more. So for me, it's listen, man, it's BS. Jayson Tatum is great, but he's not the MVP. He's not the best player in the league right now. He is not. I'm sorry. I cannot agree with that. No.
Yeah. Flea, do you feel like he is the MVP? If so, why? Or should we get more consideration? And if why not, why isn't he considered an MVP?
I wouldn't have him number one on my MVP ranking. He would be on my top 3 just because I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that there's a little bit of fandom too, because I like Jayson Tatum as a basketball player. Like, that's number one. I want to get that out the way. But if we just talk about what we're watching, yes, he is the best player on the best team in the league currently. But I don't think that should be the criteria for you being the MVP of the league, right? You should be able to watch eye test alone. Of course, numbers matter and all that stuff. But what I'm watching, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the most valuable player in the NBA right now. I'm not going to say it's not close, because I think Joker has a viable argument. I think Tatum does as well. You take Tatum off that team right now, injury, suspension, trade, whatever. That team is very different. They're not the same team. They're not a number one seed. They're not a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. They're a very, very different team. But that goes same thing for SGA. You take him off that Oklahoma City team and they struggle. You take Denver and you take Joker off that Denver team, they mightily struggle. Like they go on a precipitous losing streak if you take Joker off that team. So Jayson Tatum, for me, gets a bad rap because he came into the league into a good team. Let's remember like how it happened. Jaylen Brown was drafted before him. That's number one. So it's not like they went and got Jaylen Brown after they got Jayson Tatum. Brown was there first. When he gets there, I believe Kyrie is there his rookie year. So that's already what he's walking into the door to. And then on top of it, he's in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron James as a rookie. So what I'm saying is there's fatigue on people's minds when they think about Jayson Tatum, because they've been watching him play on the biggest stage, highest level in the NBA since he was a rookie. So at this point now, people are like, oh, it's just Jayson Tatum. But so what? He's 25 years old. I don't think he's ever missed the playoffs. He's been in the Eastern Conference Finals like 4 times. He's been in the NBA Finals once already, lost to a dynasty in Golden State Warriors. So I think the knock on this kid, because people keep talking about there's so many built-in excuses for Jayson Tatum. Let's not forget, he's 25 years old. Help me, go find me a couple of other guys that have won MVPs or multiple MVPs before they turn 25. I'll wait. Right? This is not like he's ahead of schedule, to be honest. He's completely ahead of schedule. And, he's got plenty of time to win multiple MVPs. If he's not it this year, oh well. Oh, well. SGA, like you said, OG, SGA has been phenomenal. I think he should be the front runner right now for MVP. The front runner. It's his team is great, and what he's doing is loud, right? It's loud.
In the West.
It's loud, and he's dogging everybody, right? Dogging everybody every night. I watched last night. Man, he had Dylan Brooks in hell. Like, Dylan Brooks, at one point, I saw Dylan Brooks scratch his head. Like, Dylan like to talk shit to niggas he's defending. 2, all he was doing was getting to his spot, whatever combo he was getting to, bump in the chest, light bump in the chest, excuse me, here. Bump in the chest, excuse me, here. At one point, Brooks is scratching his head, like, and he's over there, and I see him talking to Udoka, and Udoka's like, and he's like, I got like, what am I gonna do with this dude, right? So I'm high on Tatum, but to answer your question, Fabian, SGA for me right now.
I think the same 3. I think Giannis is not going to get enough love because that team is garbage. In my opinion, I don't see them. And we don't get it because he doesn't have the complementary pieces around him. Obviously, Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen meant that much to their identity, and they made up for Giannis, making it easier for him. Just like with Joker, he's in Denver, but you have complementary pieces, and you really don't get to see the flaws with Denver like that because they have those pieces that fit around them Aaron Gordon makes up for a lot defensively on those one-on-one matchups. KCP has been putting people in hell, like as you put, Flea. And it's not like Jayson Tatum is in that position as a Giannis, where you don't have these complementary pieces around you. You don't lack the talent around you for us to see, okay, what do you do by yourself, Jayson Tatum? How do you truly carry a team when nothing matters? Really, you have to play for nothing. Giannis, I'm not saying he's not playing for nothing, but we got to see him grow from the beginning of his career to now. We go, me personally, I think his defense is overrated, but offensively, he's gotten so much better in the paint, and I've seen the growth. I've seen like his flaws. With Tatum, it's like flat out, the only reason why he's not going to be the top MVP candidate, he doesn't finish the way you guys think he does. I've been saying that if he did, he gets more of that hero ball. He wins the writers over. Because
finish around the rim or finishing games?
Just finishing games in crunch time. He's
settled. Still are 7 games above the first seed. Just saying.
Okay, and so what's the difference between this and what the Utah Jazz were doing when they in first place year in, year out, and neither Goldberg or Donovan Mitchell were considered MVP candidate?
The Utah Jazz were the 1 seed 1 season. There was no year in, year out. The Celtics.
No, they were okay. They were. This is the first. This is okay. The Celtics are 2 or 3
seasons. I understand what you're saying, because they were one year they were 1 seed. The next year they were a 3 seed. Like at points when
okay, they were not a 3 seed. They were the in 2022 they were the 5 seed, and Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson walked them down.
That's the most recent one, but I'm talking about the first 5 seasons of Donovan Mitchell's carear. How many times were they a top?
Fleet. There were only 4 or 5 every year.
Okay, I stand corrected. I ain't never mad at being wrong. I just felt like
the Celtics, Jayson Tatum. This Celtics era is much stronger than anything Utah did, and I kind of agree. But go ahead. It was your take anyway. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that even with what you're saying about closing, there's still 7 games above the top in the East.
Okay, but it doesn't matter. You're saying all that, and yet we still are struggling with him as an MVP candidate, which is my point. The same thing with the Utah Jazz. Why weren't Goldberg and Donovan Mitchell considered MVP candidates? Because something is missing with them. Mitchell doesn't close out. There was something missing with them when we go, yeah, they're the best team and all, but we don't have them. We give Goldberg Defensive Player of the Year, but we don't even care. We know come playoff time, they're going to flame out. We know come playoff time, their ceiling, it might be the finals, but something's going to happen. That's what we expect as fans. That's what we see. And part of the reason why is Jayson Tatum. Same thing, Ant-Man is going through this, and nobody's saying this but me. I've been watching Ant-Man. I've been a fan of him for a while, but I've seen you flame out way too many times in crunch time when it matters. Maybe you're too excited. I don't know what Ant-Man's problem is, but I've seen him mess up in crunch time with the ball in his hands. When that does happen, it changes everything for a perimeter player because you're not a big man. They excuse the big man. They excuse Shaq. They excuse Ewing. They excuse Olajuwon to get the MVP. You don't have to get the game winner because you don't get the ball in your hands. But when you're Reggie Miller, when you're Michael Jordan, when you're Kobe, they want you to shoot and get the – and LeBron is the biggest example. MVP candidate year in, year out. And part of the reason why is because he does have his crunch time moments. We get on him about the fact that he can't close out a lot of times. He doesn't have a mid-range game. But that was what we used against him a lot of times. Jayson Tatum and Ant-Man, we're going to use that against them because you're not closing out these victories. You're part of the reason why you only have 12 losses is because, bro, how many great teams have you had? And AllBall's been saying this for the last month or so. There's no more excuses for the Boston Celtics. So therefore, there should be no more excuses for Jayson Tatum to close out and get the MVP. Draymond is dead wrong. It is not because he didn't win a finals that he didn't get the MVP. Joel Embiid hasn't sniffed a conference finals. Maybe once against the Atlanta Hawks. No, he didn't even sniff the conference finals.
You're right.
How did Joel Embiid get an MVP?
But look what he's doing to have to be an MVP. Joel had to average over 30. Right, he had to average something astronomical from a big that we haven't seen since Wilt. Right, when's the last big that we've seen average over 30?
But can I ask y'all a question before Dom go? Just us watching the game, y'all opinion? Jayson Tatum is playing the best basketball right now out of all the superstars.
No, and I think that's why none of us.
They go to money.
And I don't think any of us have him number 1 in the MVP ladder because of that. I don't think he's playing the best of anyone in the league, but he's up there. So I think we're all in agreement that we don't have Jayson Tatum number 1.
And when did we not allow players to grow? Like, when did we get to the point where we don't allow players to go through some trials, tribulations before they reach the pinnacle? Like, we come from an era where we watched some of our favorites fail time and time again before they did get to the mountaintop and start thumping their chests. I know where I was at when I was watching the 2012 NBA Finals and they finished that game and LeBron grabs the mic and says, "It's about damn time." I remember vividly, right? Like, I remember certain guys.
Do you think that was fair? For him to say it's about damn time? Was he allowed to grow?
I think that was honest and transparent, and in the moment, he was just letting out how he genuinely felt at that moment. 9 years in, 8 years in, whatever it was, trying to get to the mountaintop, being there before at one point, getting swept, right? Getting swept by a better team. All I'm saying is that you bring up Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a couple years older than Julius, for Christ's sakes. Like, come on, like, what we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like,
we're growing.
Tatum is let me finish my point. My sole point is that the league is so much younger now. It's so much younger that the expectation is the same as it was from when the league was just slightly a little bit older. Like, these guys are kids. I don't give a fuck. These niggas is kids to me. Some of y'all are over 40. I'm knocking on 40, right? Like, we can look at these kids. Like, this is my little brother. My son is 18, for Christ's sake. So, like, the expectation from the league's greatest players now, in my opinion, needs to be tempered a little bit, because the league's greatest players are 21, 22, 23 years old, right? The best player in the league right now, SGA, if we all are agreeing, or Joker, or whoever we want to call it, all of them, nobody's 30.
Okay, but we still got.
I'm just saying, temper the expectations sometimes for certain.
We cannot. Hold on, we cannot temper the expectation if we're talking about the MVP of the league right now, and we have Luka, Jayson Tatum is in the fold. SGA took a leap, and yes, he's a little bit older. Joker, Embiid, we have all these guys that are already there for us, and for you to say Tatum, we have to slow down. No, this is Draymond. This is not us. It's not just regular fans sitting down. It's Draymond and Stephen A. Smith, part of the new media that jumped up here and put the pressure on Jayson Tatum and on us as to why we're not talking about him more. Yeah, because
we don't give a about.
You can't say that. You can't say that because
about like, come on. Either
about
we
what?
About what Stephen A. has. I don't give a fuck.
No. You can't say that. He has an MVP vote, Flea. He's part of the media that's voting for these guys. Draymond is now you're part of the media. You're influencing them. There's no way possible that Draymond and Stephen A. didn't have a conversation about this in the last week.